everyone. Today we're going to be talking about all things influence. A lot of people have been asking questions in the Discord. What is influence? How do I get it? What do I need it for? What does it do? How much do I need? How much do I get? Whatever. So, we're going to be answering all questions about influence right now. So, what is influence? Every environment in the Slormancer has an influence score. You can check out your influence score by opening your profile by pressing the button P. Now you can see in the top left corner, it displays the different influence scores for the different environments. They can go up to 100, they start at 0. Most players encounter influence the first time when they're doing the trials where you need 50 total influence to complete the first trial. For that, obviously, these 5 numbers just need to add up to 50. Then, where do I get influence from? Well, you get influence from running battlefield expeditions. The amount of influence you get is determined by the number of breaches you close in successful missions. That means you open the portal, you escape through the portal. That if you die, if you run away, you don't get influence. The number of breaches is important and the difficulty that you play on, because the higher the difficulty, the higher the amount of influence you get per closed breach. It starts at 1 influence per closed breach at the lowest difficulty level, RAF minus, which then goes up to 2 influence at RAF 0, which then goes up to 3 influence at RAF 1, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 12 influence at RAF 10. For the trials, I don't think it makes a big difference whether you run specific environments through the careful examination mode or randomized environments through the battlefield journey mode. But the battlefield journey mode also spawns bosses, which you also need to kill 15 off to complete the first trial. So you probably want to be farming battlefield journey with the randomized environments for the trials. Now, what does influence do outside of the trials? It matters in the netherworld. Specifically, it modifies the amount of nether charge you gain every time you complete a cataclysm expedition. So, for instance, for me, I would get 27 nether charge for completing this mission when the base rate is 15. Now, so you want to max out your influence so you can get nether charge so you can farm nether items faster, and the answer is no, you don't, because it is just faster to get up to around 60 nether charge and then just spam warlords until you get another item, which is faster than maxing out your nether charger every time. And if you look at this little other mission with the double reward banner, you can see that the double reward banner doubles the amount of influence you get, which takes a normal mission without any influence from 15 to 30. Now, if we want to get to 60 charge, 30 times 2 is about 60. So the difference in farming speed for more influence is minuscule at best. So for this, you don't need to farm influence beyond the 50 that you get, that you need for the trials. There's a second function for nether charge, not nether charge, but influence, which is that it increases the chance for pure stats to spawn on nether items. Pure stats are, of course, specific rolls that are drop only, which go above the normal roll range. There's 3 tiers. The highest tier is triple pure, marked by the different text color and the 3 exclamation marks. As you can see, this mantle has 2 triple pure stats. And the truth is, that is really important, of course, for the optimized builds. That can be very interesting. There's also a there's also some trickery that you can do to increase the amount of gold that you can sell nether items for. So if you want to do that, that might be where farming influence for, because the amount that involves pure stats. But as a secondary thing, the devs have said they're unhappy with the way that the nether charge system works and the whole nether acquisition process at the moment works. So they're looking to rework the system, and there's a good chance that influence will be more important later on. Now, if you actually want to farm influence because you want to spawn cool nether items with a lot of pure stats, or you just want to make the number big, you're a completionist and you want to see max scores everywhere, which is as good a reason as anyone needs, then you should consider certain things, which is, first, never farm below RAF 10. The increase in rewards is very substantial, as I said, right? This is like a 12x difference between the lowest difficulty mode and the highest difficulty mode. So you always want to farm at RAF 10. You want to use a fast character, obviously, because the limiting factor should be your ability to move quickly. You should have a character that can spec into bravery and is not reliant on other attributes, because bravery is the only way to increase the amount of influence you gain outside of increasing the difficulty. And that happens because bravery grants 0.5% influence gain for every point invested past a rank 25, which can go up all the way to 40%, which is a big deal. Now, for farming in the expeditions, there's one tip that I really would like everyone to take a short look at, and that is that you definitely want to avoid chaos breaches. Chaos breaches are big breaches with a star in the middle, and those are the breaches that spawn a lot of enemies. And we're looking for one, so I can show it to you, maybe. Oh, look at that. We got lucky. Now, as you can see, this breach here has a star in the middle, and that is what chaos breaches look like. Now, usually these are really good because they spawn a lot of enemies that grant a lot of experience and all that stuff. But as you can see, when you're farming for influence, the only thing that matters is how many breaches you can close. And these chaos breaches, they lock you in place for 20 to 30 seconds, depending on how fast you can kill the enemies. Even if you kill them instantly, it takes forever to close these breaches. So if you are farming just for, if you're just leveling, or even if you are still powering up your character, you definitely want to do these because they also have increased legendary drop chance. They also have, they give a lot of XP, a lot of items. They're just a good thing to do. But if you're in the end game and you just want to get up your influence, avoid the chaos breaches at all costs. There are certain indicators that you can use to determine whether there's likely a chaos breach in the room. So you don't have to look at the chaos breach every time, which is, it is very important that the room be big enough. So if we look at the room where the chaos breach spawned, which was here, this is a big room because the chaos breach needs a lot of space to spawn in all these enemies, right? So once you activate it, it expands and then it spawns in all these enemies, so it needs a lot of room. So a chaos breach will never spawn in a room like this because it is too small. Every time there are two breaches in a single room, the chances that there is another breach is incredibly small because there's usually, in 99% of all cases, not enough space. Also, if you're entering a room and the breach is slightly off center, meaning it is not right smack dab in the middle of the room, it's usually not a nether breach because nether breaches need a lot of space. So that way you can look at the minimap and you be like, okay, I can just blast and I can just like farm away. And if you think, oh, this could be a spawn point for another breach, you go down a little bit slower, you check if it's another breach, not another breach, a chaos breach, sorry, and you avoid it. You manually open the portal, you go to the next level. All right. Those are basically all the important things about influence, and that should basically give you a good overview. Now, you might think, hey, this seems like a really weird mechanic because it doesn't do much. Why is it here? What's the purpose? It seems really tacked on. And the answer for that is, the reason that is the case is that the devs implemented influence very early on. I think it came out with the release of early access. And they had bigger plans for the chaos breaches. And what ended up happening was that through the development of the game, the concept of influence as it was originally intended just didn't make all that much sense anymore. And we can, for instance, check. No, I don't have it open, but yeah, influence as it stands today was not the original intent, but the devs have shown that they usually find a way to make things matter. So I wouldn't be surprised if influence plays a bigger role in the future. All that being said, I hope this was informative. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you next time, I guess.